Shepherd's pie is a brilliant one-dish meal, a powerful combination of protein, veg, and sauce, all in one delicious package. And here is my simple approach, easy to duplicate with whatever you find fresh at the market. For this shepherd's pie, I found fresh celery root for our mash to replace the traditional potato crust topping, and Japanese white turnips to replace the traditional carrots. Oh, and I thought I'd throw in these fresh off the vine string beans, full of nutrients and crunch. Finally, I couldn't resist this beautiful rainbow chard, almost like an exotic fan. Magnificent. For our meat, what is often called ground paleo beef, 100% grass-fed and grass-finished. On to our peaceful prep. We start by salting our protein for added juiciness and flavor. This paleo ground is a combination of lean ground beef and organ meats, one of nature's most nutrient-dense foods, loaded with vitamins, minerals, amino acids, collagen, antioxidants, and so much more. This ground combination is a delicious and easy way to ensure you're getting everything your body needs to thrive. Season all sides of the thawed or even partially thawed meat with a generous amount of salt. Not only does it add flavor to the dish, but it also helps to tenderize the meat. Massage in with your hands, and then break into small bite-sized pieces so they're ready for a quick sauté later. And we continue to prep with our plants. For our shepherd's pie crust from the root and squash family, what I call beautiful on the inside celery root. Cut off the coarse ends and then peel like you would an apple. It doesn't have to be perfect, just enough to get most of the rough stuff off. Then we cut into small chunks. Nothing fancy, as it'll all be mashed up in the end anyway. Just as long as the pieces are uniform in size, and the smaller, the quicker they cook. Trust me when I say it pays to have a sharp knife when you're prepping, an investment you'll never regret. With the chopped celery root in your large Dutch oven, add water to cover. This firm root vegetable should be immersed for even cooking. One of the secrets to a great mash is starting with cold water, so the root vegetable can cook through evenly. And add salt, a liberal amount. I explain why in a more detailed class devoted entirely to mashed potatoes. With the burner on medium-high, let the celery cubes come to a simmer. You can keep the lid on to keep the heat in the pan and help the steaming process, if you want. While the celery root simmers, return to prepping the rest of your vegetables. Next up, turnips. I don't bother peeling here as the skins are a great source of fiber and nutrients. Again, a rough chop, just enough so the pieces are uniform and small for a quick sauté. Remember our knife technique. Hold the turnips with your crab hand, letting your knuckles guide the blade of the knife, fingers free from harm. Then with your knife hand, lift at the wrist, down and forward. I love green beans. They add crunch to the dish. And a low-calorie food that's packed with nutrients. They're rich in vitamins C and K, as well as folate and fiber. Simply cut off the ends and slice in half so they're bite-sized. For our aromatics, I grabbed a cluster of shallots. They have a more delicate and subtle flavor than onions. Slightly sweet and nutty, and that adds depth to the dish. For shallots, you just need to peel the outside layer and slice. Snap off a clove or two of garlic. Snip off the root end and peel with a quick snap of the knife with the palm of your hand, fingers clear. If your garlic has aged a bit, you may need to remove the sprout in the middle as it can taste bitter. Oh, and I decided to toss in a chopped tomato for brightness, classic for a shepherd's pie. Stewed tomatoes add a natural sweetness and acidity to the dish, and a rich source of vitamins C and K, as well as potassium. I like to drain the juices from the tomato so our pie doesn't become soggy. You can use a strainer like I'm doing here, or honestly, most times I just give them a squeeze with my hands. Lastly, we strip the leaves from the stems of our rainbow chard. Yes, it's possible to include the stems in your sauté, but they can be tough and fibrous and they can take extra time to cook, so I leave them out. But they sure look amazing while you're prepping. A rough chop into bite-sized pieces. Now back to our celery root. After about 15 to 20 minutes, test for doneness by placing one piece on a towel. If cooked through, it should easily press flat. Perfect. Return the lid with a slight opening to drain the water. Off to the sink. With the water drained from the celery root, return to the burner. Here, I sometimes keep the heat on for a bit to further dry them if I feel like there's a lot of moisture. Now, it's time to mash. And honestly, I should have taken my pan off the burner. You can do this on a more secure countertop. And one of the tricks for the best mashed potatoes is to use a simple potato masher. Now for the creamy. Pour in your cream of choice, just a touch to start, as you can always add more as you go if needed. I use coconut cream, simple, without additives like guar gum. Then a big dollop of healthy fat butter, or I use ghee. And to liven things up, a sprinkling of ground sumac, a vibrant burgundy-colored sweet spice that comes from berries. Make sure it's all melted and stirred into the warm celery root. And don't forget the all-important taste test to see if further seasoning is needed. Yep, a final sprinkling of salt for sparkle. Return the lid and set aside to stay warm until ready to top your pie. Step number 3 in our cook well approach is sauce. And here we use our Scottish shepherd's pie sauce with the added bonus of drippings I had stored in the freezer left over from a turkey roast. It brings a savory, mouth-watering depth to the dish. And I included chopped thyme. Step number 4, heat. You will have wanted to bring your protein to room temperature 20 minutes earlier during prep to help browning. Fire your burner, heat your pan, and swirl a bit of healthy cooking fat. The first batch is our protein, our salted ground beef and organ meats. This is so any remaining flavor bits, or fond, will later flavor the remaining batches. Remember to spread evenly with space so steam can escape, which allows for the browning. Press to sear to further help browning and lock in flavor. Again, one of the keys to successful browning is to bring the meat to room temperature for a food-safe 20 minutes before cooking. And just look at those caramelized, rich bits of meat. Fabulous. Once the meat is cooked through, push to the side of the pan and add your aromatics, your shallots and garlic into the meat mixture, full of nutrients and flavor. Salt. Stir, and then add your tomatoes for a rich, savory meat mixture. Stir everything together to combine flavors. Then turn the burner off and transfer to your shepherd's pie deep dish. At this point, the residual heat will continue to cook the meat and bring out more flavor juices. With the burner back on, time for batch number 2. Swirl some oil and work from firmer to more tender, starting with turnips. Stir to coat. Salt for sparkle. Press to sear. Once the turnips have seared a bit, push to the side of the pan and another drop of oil for adding your green beans. Oh, and a little more oil never hurts. You want to make sure your green beans are lightly coated. You know the routine. Salt and press the sear. Stir them all together, and now it's time for a quick steam. Gather your firmer vegetables into a pile in the pan. Swirl a tablespoon or 2 of water around the outside edges and cover. You only need a minute or 2 to help these firm vegetables soften while still retaining their fresh crunch. Beautiful. You can see here some of the fond or flavor bits from the meat sauté are imparted on the turnips. One last stir, and then we add our leafy greens, the more tender of our vegetables. So they only need an added healthy fat, a bit of salt, and a stir in the sauté. Stunning in color and full of plant protein. Now pour your protein aromatic mixture right back into the pan to bring it all together. This is your delicious, nutritious shepherd's pie mixture. And the final step, stir in our savory Scottish shepherd's pie sauce made with drippings. Pour the entire mixture back into our pie dish, ready for our creamy, porridge-like celery root topping with a hint of berry spice and full of nutrients. I brush the topping with a little extra virgin olive oil to help browning in the oven, and because it's fun to do. Oh, and on this pie, I added a sprinkling of goat cheddar cheese too, but it's 100% optional. And honestly, it doesn't need it, as the savory sauce brings the dish to life. Into a 400-degree Fahrenheit oven for about 30 to 40 minutes. Place on the middle rack to start and then the top rack for the final 2 minutes to help brown. Just like this. You can top with a few sprinkles of green to make it look pretty. The last step in our cook well approach is enjoy. So cut and serve. Shepherd's pie, a brilliant one-dish meal with a powerful combination of protein, veg, and sauce, all in one delicious package. A few steps, yes, but easy to duplicate with practice and with whatever you find fresh at the market. Enjoy.